and I just made a really sad video about No Mercy, and now I'm kind of in a bad mood. So I thought that I would do, well, not in a bad mood, I'm just kind of sad. So I thought that I would film a video to make me happy. Let's do that. After I finished doing my how to start your K-pop collection video, a few other K-pop YouTubers started doing how to start a specific group kind of videos, and when I was talking to my friend the other day, she said you should do an infinite one because you're one of the few K-pop YouTubers who I would believe actually doing an infinite one. First, let me show you my infinite collection. So it's this picture, plus these two. These are the two that I have at school with me right now. Infinite H's second album, Fly Again, and third Japanese single, She's Back. First, you have to define yourself as what kind of fan you are. Are you a fan who wants everything that they've ever released? Every CD they've ever released? Are you someone who just wants all of the music? Because that's a very important thing when collecting Infinite. I have just always bought everything from Infinite because they're my favorite boy group. Infinite has 4 mini albums, 2 full-length albums, plus the repacks of those albums, 2 single albums, 1 Japanese full-length album, 5 Japanese singles. One of them's original, the other 4 are remakes of Korean singles. 4 subgroups. They have 2 Heart, Sungyu, Infinite H, and Infinite F. H has 2, F has releases in Japan and Korea. Like, sometimes you look at people's collections and all they have is Korean, and then you're like, oh, that's not that bad, and then you like look at my collection, somebody who's been collecting things for a long time, and so the first thing I want to say before we get into Korean releases, if you're not a huge fan of Infinite, if you don't want to spend a lot of money getting every single thing they've ever released, the Japanese singles just aren't for you, except for Dilemma Japan. You should buy Dilemma Japan because it's their first original Japanese single. The first song that was released in Japan before it was released in Korea, because the other 4, BTD, Be Mine Japan, She's Back Japan, Last Romeo, Dilemma. So, and then there's Man in Love Japan for their first full-length album, which is basically the lineup of first Korean full-length album with basically every other song that wasn't released as a single up to that point was songs that were on their first Korean album. So, if you want to buy Japan things, but you don't want to buy everything, buy Dilemma Japan. Buy this baby. This is their third Japanese single, She's Back, and it is my favorite thing they've ever released in Japan. The rest of their Japanese releases are okay, packaging wise. This was a big one though, so it's not too expensive anymore. I think you can find it on Amazon for very cheap now, but it was expensive when it first came out, and if you're buying it from other places then it will be expensive still. But this should be a thing that you buy from Japanese releases. Everything else from Japanese releases I feel like aren't that important. Another thing I think that is important is to ignore the fact that Over the Top exists, or that it kind of exists. I have Over the Top because I bought it when it was up for pre-orders. So a lot of people in their Infinite collections do not have Over the Top, and you won't see them have Over the Top, and a lot of them will just hold up Paradise and be like Infinite's first full-length album, because Over the Top is a hole in a lot of people's collections, and I feel like that if I had gotten into Infinite after that album went out of print, I would have bought it anyways at the $60, $70, $100 price that it goes for, because it would have driven me crazy not to have Over the Top. Over the Top, if you're wondering about the packaging, is basically exactly the same as Season 2, but with the Over the Top photos. Mini albums are really easy to get. They have First Invasion, Evolution, Infinitize, and what's the last one? New Challenge. And I always want to call it Man in Love, but it's called New Challenge. I think from their mini albums, the most important one that you should buy is Evolution, but that's just my opinion. That's my favorite of their mini albums. The second one after that is Infinitize. I think that First Invasion's after that, and then New Challenge is last. So the Man in Love Korean you should buy last, unless that is your favorite kind of concept from Infinite. But if it is, then I don't know why you're buying everything else, because they literally don't have any other albums like New Challenge. Well, in spirit. The second thing you should work on is their singles, their Korean singles. Very cheap, very easy to find. There's no photo cards anymore in Inspirit, but Destiny still comes with cards, so go ahead and get those too. For subunits, I think an album that everybody should own is this one. This is my favorite album from any subunit that Infinite's ever released. This is Infinite H's second album, Fly Again. This is also their newest album, so if you're gonna follow my advice from your How to Start Your K-Pop Collection video and you want to do most recent thing backwards, then I'd say go for this first. But I think that the mini albums are very important of Infinite's discography, and I think that's really where you should start. For their full-length albums, if you wanna... See, some people I've seen do this video have been like, you should buy the repacks before you buy the full album. I don't... Why? I've never really do that though, you know? Well, except for in VIX I've done that. It's the only time I've ever done that, where I bought the repack before I bought the original one, because I was still hesitant about whether or not I wanted to buy things from VIX, so I bought Jekyll instead of Hyde. But I think that you should buy Paradise, because Paradise is a wonderfully packaged album and it has all the songs from Over the Top on it. Plus like 3 more, including there's a Be Mine remix on there, there's CoverGirl, which is one of my favorite Infinite non-title tracks, and there's Paradise. I think it was only those 3, but that's a good album to buy because it'll make you feel like you have Over the Top. I wouldn't say buy Be Back before you buy Season 2 though. I don't know, I feel like if you were just doing Infinite and you were doing different carts, Be Back doesn't really fit in anything. It's also their newest group, OT7 Korean release, so it's not going anywhere for a while, which scares a lot of people after Over the Top. They're like, oh my god, Season 2 is gonna go out of print, and I'm just like, Willem learned their lesson. Willem also has more money now, so they have more money to print albums. They still won't reprint Over the Top though. I don't understand why, but they won't. For subunits, like I said, you should buy Fly Again first. I also think a good album to buy is Infinite F's album. Sungkyu's is very, very good too, but if you're not into the rock genre, you won't like it. But I really enjoy Sungkyu's rock genre, so I say Sungkyu's rock genre because I'm not a huge fan of rock music, but I do like Sungkyu's album a lot. And I'd say Fly High should be last on your list. There's nothing about Fly High that really attracts me as much as the other ones. Oh, and Too Hard. Too Hard, I guess you could... Too Hard, I would say buy... It was a solid album though, and the photo books are really nice for that. So I would say buy Too Hard maybe when you buy F. I would say buy Season 2 before you buy Be Back. I just feel like doing it backwards is just... I don't feel comfortable with that. But of course it's your choice if you want to buy Be Back before you buy Season 2. As long as you have both of them, because I think both of them are very solid albums. And the photo book for... Well, I guess if the first press photo book is still available, then you should buy Be Back first, because that... Good photo book. Very good photo book. If it's not, then don't rush to get it, I would say. If you're buying their Japanese stuff, the best versions of every Japanese single, let's just go through this. The best versions, I think, of every Japanese single they've ever had. For BTE Japan, the CD photo book version, it's version B. And I like the CD DVD version. I don't own it yet. It's in my shopping cart on Amazon right now, actually. For Be Mine, they had a CD DVD version, which is the solid version. They have 2 CD only versions like that, which is the pop art version and the innocent version. Innocent version is personally my favorite version. And the third single, why would you buy the normal edition over this and call it part of your collection? This is such a huge part of my Infinite collection now. For the 4th single, Last Romeo, I don't own version A of that, but I do have version B, which is the CD photo book. I would rather have a photo book than a DVD, always. So that's just me. And for Dilemma, I don't own the CD DVD version, but it's something that's very, very high on my Infinite priority list, and I will be getting that very, very soon. I think that's all I have to say about buying Infinite. I think that you should start with their mini albums first. I think their mini albums are such a big part of their career, and just ignore Over the Top. If you finish everything that I just said and then you still want Over the Top, good for you. Have fun looking for it. It just makes me so mad that they didn't reprint it, because it's such a solid album, and everybody who listens to Paradise is not actually listening to the first album, they're listening to the repack. And I believe that the way that the songs were ordered, well, the songs are ordered basically the same way, but going through Paradise and then going through Be Mine, and then I don't listen to Paradise all the way through. I either listen to the 3 songs on Paradise by themselves, or I listen to Over the Top, like that. so I've never really listened to Paradise with the over-the-top songs. I just kind of keep them separated because that's the way I like to do things. Singles, I guess I could say, for Korean singles, you should buy Destiny before In Spirit. There's no rush to buy In Spirit. It's like with me and Vix's album Superhero. There's no rush for me to buy Superhero because it's cheap and there's no photo card in it, so there's no, and it's still very readily available, and In Spirit is very readily available too. They're still a pretty easy group to collect minus Over the Top, and if you want to get into them, then definitely get into them right now. It's a great time to collect them, I think, and that's why I'm trying to buy everything else. Oh, another thing, the Origin. I don't own it, that's why I didn't think about it. The Origin has all their instrumentals. I was going to save that for last. I'm planning on saving that for last because it has all the instrumentals of like all their Korean songs, and it's really good, but I think that it's a good way to finish the collection, you know? Just be like, okay, I have everything, and now I'm gonna buy all the instrumentals. I think I have 8 Japanese singles left. 8 Japanese singles, yep. It's a lot. But it's definitely an easier group to collect than Super Junior, and I think I have more fun, and I don't stress as much about collecting Infinite. Because when I think about collecting Super Junior, it just feels like I'm missing so many things still. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Bye!